Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing everyone's description, Nageshidan had a rough idea in her mind, but she wanted to confirm further, or, was he hostile to you at that time? No hostility, but when I said I wanted to kill Hei Tong, he briefly had murderous intentions towards me. As the ace killer of Night Raid, Aka Tong can keenly perceive the hostility and murderous intentions of others. However, this ability was actually cultivated during the period of the Imperial Assassination Corps. At that time, her superior Goziki could also see through the killing world of others. This ability is very useful when dealing with spies. Doesn't this mean that he has no hostility towards us? In this case, I think he is a talent worth winning over. Nageshidan said, today's events can be said to be bad luck, or good luck. Your direct contact with him also saves you from observing him. It seems that the boss is planning to invite him to join our night raid. Leonie said immediately. Yes, let's see when there is an opportunity. I want to talk to him in person. Nageshidan nodded. Just like how she persuaded Akihiko, she took the initiative to expose her whereabouts, and then Akihiko was sent by the Empire Assassination Force to assassinate her, so she had the opportunity to talk to Akihiko face to face. We can have new companions again. Hilton said happily. Hill has long purple hair and purple pupils. Her whole body, including the Cheongsam-style long skirt, is all purple. She seems to have a special liking for purple. She is the only one wearing glasses in Night Raid. She is a confused and innocent girl with glasses. She looks quiet and beautiful. She has the Imperial weapon All Things Cut in 2 Ecstasy, which is a scissor-type Imperial weapon. The ability is to cut everything in the world. At the same time, the hardness of this Imperial weapon is also very high, and it can also be used for defense. Main said, don't be too happy too soon. That guy may not accept it. He may be as stubborn as General Bud. This pink-haired girl with twin ponytails is the current user of the gun-type Imperial weapon Romantic Turret Pumpkin. She is petite and cute, and her dress is also light pink, cute facial features, pink eyes, but her personality seems a bit arrogant. Since Nageshidan's right eye and right hand were destroyed by his death when she defected, it is not suitable for her to use a gun-type Imperial weapon. As the original owner of the pumpkin cannon, she gave this Imperial weapon to Main, who happened to be a shooting genius. But then again, Bai Ye should be a commander in the Imperial Assassination Corps. Do you have any clues after contacting him? At this time, Nageshidan suddenly asked. Akahide shook her head slightly. Since Bai Ye looks almost the same age as Hei Tong, she thinks it is possible even if Bai Ye is a killer in the Imperial Assassination Corps. I understand. Then let's notify the Revolutionary Army headquarters to send someone to investigate. Nageshidan said. The Imperial Assassination Force base is heavily guarded. Is it okay to send someone to investigate directly? Akagi was worried. Don't worry. We have an Imperial weapon user in the Revolutionary Army who is an expert in this area. Nageshidan's tone sounded very confident. Imperial Assassination Force, base headquarters. The vacation time passed quickly, and the playfulness of the assassination forces should be restrained. They have received extremely rigorous training, so they are not unable to restrain their playfulness. What follows is the day of drug enhancement. Every once in a while, the base will regularly drug enhancement for all members of the assassination force. The so-called drug enhancement is actually just an excuse. What the experimenters really do to all members of the assassination force is brainwashing. Since Bai Ye showed the information to Hei Tong and others last time, Hei Tong and others also know the truth about drug enhancement, but they still had no idea of resistance and were willing to accept brainwashing again. The whole process of brainwashing is that the experimenters took all the members of the assassination team to a special underground room, where everyone sat on a chair with their hands handcuffed and injected drugs that could put them into a sleeping state. Then they could start hypnotizing and suggesting them, focusing on the core of never betray the Empire. However, an accident happened in today's brainwashing. Bai Ye, are you trying to hinder our work? Drug enhancement must be carried out regularly. This is an iron order issued by the superiors. You have no right to interfere. If your superiors know about your actions, you should understand what the consequences will be. When the staff wanted to take all the members of the assassination team to undergo brainwashing, Bai Ye stopped them. Drug enhancement? Shouldn't it be called brainwashing? Bai Ye's face was slightly gloomy, and he said lightly, hearing this, the staff was immediately shocked. You actually did it in front of them? Tong, Kelly and other members of the assassination team were still nearby, and the superiors would never allow the members of the assassination team to know the truth about regular drug enhancement. Anyone who leaked the secret would be executed, even the staff might be affected. However, Tong and the others actually knew about brainwashing a long time ago, but they just didn't take it to heart. Now they showed worry on their faces, because they were worried that the conflict between Chief Bai Ye and the staff would lead to some bad consequences. They didn't realize how serious the consequences of Chief Bai Ye's behavior were. Yes, but I not only did it in front of them, but also showed them the information, so what do you want? Bai Ye's tone was very calm, as if he was talking about something insignificant. Hearing this, the staff were dumbfounded. Are you crazy? Don't you know what will happen if you do this? What a desperate guy, what's so worth caring about those tools? One of them snorted coldly. What do we want? Of course, we report to the superiors, and you will be punished immediately. The last time the dangerous materials happened, they were already upset. It's just that they were not right, so the matter was left unresolved, but they have always been resentful. This time the other party actually took the initiative to reveal the handle to them, so they must retaliate severely. It was not until then that Tong and others realized the seriousness of the problem. What does this mean? Commander Bai Ye is going to be punished? Tong asked anxiously. Of course, he has committed a big crime and must be executed, but it is estimated that he will not be executed so easily and directly. He will be tortured before that. The other party sneered with a sinister look on his face. Not only that, Celia will definitely be regarded as an accomplice. However, at this moment, Bai Ye and Celia did not show any fear on their faces, but were calm and indifferent. Even the expression on Celia's face gradually became crazy and distorted. P.S. Regarding the question of whether there is a single female protagonist or multiple female protagonists, it must be the trend of multiple female protagonists. Otherwise there would not be so much ink for female characters other than his death. However, the focus is still on making up for the regrets, and there will be no tendency of stallions. In addition, the pictures of the night raid members will be released slowly, otherwise putting too many pictures in one chapter will easily affect the reading experience. Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is it such a serious matter? Commander Bai Ye will be punished by the Empire because of us. This, are you kidding me? Commander, explain it to them. Maybe there is still a chance that when they learned that Commander Bai Ye and Commander Sai Lu were going to be punished, everyone in the assassination team panicked. They have been losing companions, and now even these two commanders who are the best to them are leaving them. Tong also showed a very sad expression on her face, but if this is the rule of the Empire, she can't do anything about it. If Tong really wanted to change all this, she and Tong would not have parted ways, and her former companions would not have been punished and died one by one. Chance. Wishful thinking. It's useless even if you beg for mercy in front of us now. The staff laughed arrogantly. How can it be more satisfying to let Bai Ye and Sai Lu kowtow and beg for mercy than to watch these two guys being tortured? Master, can I kill them? At this moment, Sai Lu asked Bai Ye with a grim smile. The arrogant laughter of those staff members stopped abruptly. No longer had the arrogant look just now, but looked at Sai Lu with horror. What do you want to do? Do you still need to ask? Of course, let you evil be judged. The smile moved to Sai Lu's face, but Sai Lu's smile was not arrogant, but a terrible and ferocious smile. You dare. What you do is a serious crime. Death penalty. Some staff members were still shouting, obviously trying to intimidate Bai Ye and Sai Lu with the rules of the Empire Assassination Force. Some staff members had already thought of escaping, and turned around and wanted to slip away directly. Don't leave anyone behind. Bai Ye responded lightly. With the permission of the master, Sai Lu and Xiao Bai immediately took action. These staff members were almost ordinary people with little force, but they also had special ways to save their lives, that is to hide the drug in the molars. Their drug is more special than the drugs taken by the assassination team members, with stronger effects and greater side effects. The muscles of the staff members swelled rapidly, bursting their clothes and turning into mutants. Kill. Kill you. A lot of blue veins appeared on their faces, and they looked not only slurred but also a little unconscious. However, ordinary people are ordinary people after all. Even if they use drugs to forcibly improve their abilities, they still can't make up for the huge gap in strength. Things have developed to this point. Bai Ye will never show mercy. If these people are not killed, the superiors will definitely come to trouble him and Selu. Silencing these people can at least delay some time. There is no need to use the double god power eye technique. With the basic ability of the Mangekyō Sharingan and the black and white double swords, these guys can be easily crushed. Just a moment later, as the last person was beheaded by Selu with an expressionless face, all the staff present were killed by Bai and Selu asked Xiaobi to eat all the bodies of these staff. Only the bloodstains and traces of fighting were left everywhere on the ground. Seeing Bai and Selu kill those staff with their own eyes, Hei Tong, Kelly and others were all a little confused. "Captain, sir, isn't your situation more dangerous now?" At this time, Kelly asked first with a trembling voice. "That's true, but so what?" Bai Ye said calmly, "Think it over carefully. I'm doing this for you. You don't think that brainwashing has no effect on you, do you? You are no longer the same after being brainwashed. Isn't it scary? Let's not talk about whether your idea of never betraying the Empire is caused by brainwashing. After all, you won't believe it now. You should be able to wake up gradually after a long time." Bai Ye has a guess. That is, there must be a reason why all members of the assassination team have to undergo brainwashing regularly. This brainwashing is not permanent, but time-limited, which should be the reason. Otherwise, there is no need to carry out so many brainwashing. Then as long as Hei Tong and others are no longer brainwashed in the future, it is estimated that the impact of brainwashing on them will gradually weaken. The commander suddenly told us this, and we don't know what to do. Yes, we can't resist those people like the commander just did. If we resist, we will only be executed, and we should obey the emperor absolutely. The country. The minds of the assassination team were suddenly confused. Can those guys just now represent the empire? Do you do whatever they tell you to do? Bai Ye said bluntly, "Now I am the manager of the empire assassination team. I will directly re-establish those systems. You don't have to have any psychological burden. I will take care of anything. And Xiaobi and I will help you return to the path of justice." Selu picked up Xiaobi and said to everyone with a smile. At this moment, Selu's sunny smile was in stark contrast to the battle just now. Xiaobi seemed to have digested the corpses just now, and now he is in his normal form. "If you don't want to lose your companions again, just believe us. Although I can't represent the empire, at least I am more serious than those guys just now. After all, I am your manager." Bai Ye said with a smile. These words immediately moved everyone. After all, these words not only did not violate their brainwashing, but were also very convincing. Bai Ye did not ask them to betray the empire throughout the whole article. "I don't want to lose my companions anymore, nor do I want to lose my superior. I believe in my superior." At this time, Hei Tong spoke first. The others nodded one after another. The commander wanted to change the Imperial Assassination Force from within, rather than directly betray the Imperial Assassination Force, which they could completely accept. The staff members killed by Bai Ye and Sai Lu today were only a part of them. The other staff members had no idea what was happening here. In short, it did not affect the normal operation of the entire base. The experimenter in charge of brainwashing was even more puzzled as to why the assassination team did not come to the underground room on time. As for the dead staff members, it was as if they had evaporated from the face of the earth. Except for Bai Ye, Sai Lu, and Hei Tong, no one knew what happened to those staff members. After all, even the corpses were digested by Xiao Bai, and it was easy to clean up the bloodstains and traces of battle at the scene. Bai Ye directly told the experimenter that an accident had occurred inside the base, and many staff members had mysteriously disappeared, so this round of brainwashing was temporarily cancelled. While various things happened to the Imperial Assassination Force, the spies sent by the Revolutionary Army had already sneaked into the Imperial capital and were wandering around the base of the Imperial Assassination Force, waiting for an opportunity to move using the transformation ability of the Imperial Tool Gaia Foundation. Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The so-called superior of the Imperial Assassination Force is a high-ranking official in the palace named Kaijio. His status is only slightly lower than that of Minister Ernest. To be precise, Kaijio is the founder of the Imperial Assassination Force. What happened in the Imperial Assassination Force has not yet been reported to Kaijio. Before Kaijio reacted, Bai Ye had the final say over the entire Imperial Assassination Force, and this period of time was enough for him to do a lot of things. Today, Bai Ye and Sai Lu took the assassination force out for training as usual. Ding. The host hunted a level 4 dangerous species and received a reward, 1 system point. Ding. The host hunted a level 3 dangerous species and received a reward, 3 system points. All members of the assassination force successfully completed the training goals, and Bai Ye also gained a lot of system points during the training. Although there were a few wounded, everyone was in a relaxed and happy mood, because now Commander Bai Ye has changed the system of the Empire Assassination Force. The original punishment system has been completely abolished. They no longer have to worry about being punished for being injured, and they will never lose their companions easily. Again, the only thing they need to worry about is Commander Bai Ye and Commander Sai Lu. They know that the two commanders' actions are against the orders of their superiors. When they were returning, in front of the base gate, Bai Ye saw a little black cat in the bushes not far away. It looked like a stray cat and was injured. Seeing the injured stray cat, Bai Ye immediately walked over. Master. Seeing the master walk to the bushes, Sai Lu immediately asked in confusion. Bai Ye squatted down and tried to reach out to touch the little black cat. He tried twice and found that the little black cat did not breathe at him. Basically, it can be said that this little black cat is very docile. Bai Ye boldly touched the black cat's head gently with his hand, but even if the black cat suddenly attacked him, he would be able to react immediately. Meowed. The black cat did not resist at all, but looked quite enjoyable. It turned out to be a kitten, and it seems to be injured. Sai Lu also came over at this time. Well, its front leg was injured, and it looked a little listless. It was probably malnourished all the time. Bai Ye had already observed the physical condition of the black cat. What a cute kitten. Hei Tong and others also followed. It seems that Hei Tong also likes cute little animals. I want to help it treat its wounds first, and then see if it can be adopted by a suitable family. As he said, Bai Ye grabbed the black cat's neck with his hand, picked it up and held it in his arms. The black cat was always very well behaved. It did not scratch him with its claws, nor did it breathe on him, and even rubbed his head against him. What a well-behaved kitten. It's a pity that we can't keep a pet. Kelly sighed immediately. The question of whether or not the Imperial Assassination Corps can keep pets is no longer a question of whether or not they can keep pets, but of completely controlling their freedom. As for keeping pets, that's actually easy. Once I completely take over the Imperial Assassination Corps, I can easily lift restrictions on you. Bai Ye said. Completely take over. Kelly and others immediately felt that Commander Bai Ye probably had some way to discuss with the bigwigs above. However, Bai Ye's idea was not like that. Just like that, the little black cat was carried into the base by Bai Ye. Originally, the base did not allow any animals other than those used for experiments to enter, but since it was Bai Ye who brought the little black cat into the base, the guard did not say anything. In fact, this injured stray cat was transformed by Chelsea. The imperial tool she possessed, Transformation Freedom Gaia Foundation, allowed her to transform into anything she wanted through her thoughts. Transforming into an injured stray cat was to facilitate activities near the base of the Imperial Assassination Corps. Chelsea's original intention was to find an opportunity to sneak into the base, but she did not expect this to happen. When Bai Ye came towards her just now, she actually wanted to run away, but considering that her front leg was injured, it would be a bit fake to run so fast. In order not to give up, she pretended to be very obedient and observed the situation. If the situation was really wrong, it would not be too late for her to give up the plan and run away. what surprised Chelsea a little was that this target named Bai Ye was quite kind and wanted to take her into the base to treat her wounds. Of course, this target did not refer to an assassination target, but a surveillance target. The task assigned to Chelsea by the Revolutionary Army was to monitor Bai Ye and see what Bai Ye was up to. Is it suitable for them to win over? In short, Bai Ye's action just now was just what she wanted. She was originally trying to sneak into the base, although this was equivalent to a sheep walking into the tiger's mouth. Spy work is so dangerous, and she has never failed before. She is still very confident in her ability and the ability of the Imperial weapon. At this time, Bai Ye brought the little black cat that Chelsea turned into the lounge. He asked the experimenter for some medicine that can treat animal wounds, such as disinfectants. Then he started to help Chelsea treat the wound. Sayu, Kurwa, and others were also watching. The ability of the Imperial Weapon Gaia Foundation is indeed very strong. Until now, Bai Ye has not discovered that this little black cat is actually a human. As long as Chelsea does not make strange actions that are not in line with the habits of cats, basically no one can see through her. Meow. That when the disinfectant was applied, Chelsea pretended to be in pain and struggled a little, making her disguise more seamless. The advantages and disadvantages of Gaia Foundation are obvious. That is, the ability of frontal combat is very weak, and it is only suitable for reconnaissance, lurking, and assassination. It was not until the wound was treated that Bai Ye faintly noticed a trace of abnormality. Because the wound on the black cat's leg was made by Chelsea through the makeup ability of the Imperial tool. Although it was so real that it was almost the same as the real wound, the naked eye could not see the abnormality at all. But Bai Ye's eyes were not ordinary eyes, but the Mangekyō Sharingan with strong insight. This very tiny abnormality was still captured by him. Chelsea's only mistake was that she had no information about the Mangekyō Sharingan, let alone the Revolutionary Army. No one in the world knew that Bai Ye's eyes were Mangekyō Sharingan. Therefore, Chelsea was completely unaware that her disguise had been exposed. However, Bai Ye did not react on the surface, but continued to patiently help the black cat treat the wound. At this time, Bai Ye had already kept a careful eye in his heart. This little black cat was probably transformed from a human, and it was probably the ability of some kind of Imperial tool. There are all kinds of strange Imperial tools, and it is not surprising that some of them have the ability to transform. He is not in a hurry to expose this little black cat now, but just wants to see what this little black cat wants to do next. P.S. There will be 3 updates today. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Ye felt that the biggest possibility was that this little cat was transformed from a spy sent by the Revolutionary Army. After all, the biggest enemy of the Imperial Assassination Corps was the Revolutionary Army, and it could almost be said to be the only enemy. The Imperial Assassination Corps was originally created specifically to target the Revolutionary Army. Although the possibility of a foreign spy could not be completely ruled out, this possibility was too small, and foreign races had little to do with them. After Bai Ye treated the wound of the little black cat, he simply bandaged it and tied a bow. Although he had already seen that there was something wrong with the little black cat, he was willing to accompany this guy to continue acting as if nothing had happened. Bai Ye acted normally to find food to feed the little black cat. There are still some snacks in the base, let's feed it some biscuits first. Bai Ye said at this time, there is no such special cat food in this world. Even if you want it, you have to buy the ingredients and make it yourself, and, this guy is not a cat but a human. From this perspective, cat food is not as good as biscuits. However, those cookies were bought by Hei Tong, and some of them have not been added with drug ingredients, so Bai Ye had to ask Hei Tong first. Hei Tong, can you share some of your cookies with the kitten? If it's just a little bit, no problem. When it comes to her own snacks, that is, the other party is Bai Ye, and Hei Tong also likes cute little animals, she will give in. Of course not too much, it can't eat much. Then, Bai Ye took some small cookies and a small bowl to put these cookies. Looking at Bai Ye's actions, Chelsea thought that this guy is quite considerate, that if he threw it directly on the ground for her to eat, she would have to endure the dirt on the ground. It's much better with this small bowl. Then, Chelsea also behaved very naturally, tasted the taste first, and then started to eat, and Hei Tong, Kelly and others watched the scene of the little black cat eating like curious babies. They have never kept pets, and it is very rare to see such a scene, being stared at by so many people. Chelsea felt a little uncomfortable. She thought to herself, these guys are really so ignorant. They even stare at a kitten eating, but that's true. In her impression, these guys in the Imperial Assassination Corps have no freedom at all. They have been trained by the Empire to be a group of pure killing machines. Chelsea is quite familiar with the Imperial Assassination Corps. The assassination organization Oberg she was in before had a head-on confrontation with the Imperial Assassination Corps. In the end, the elite group of the Assassination Corps lost many members, and Oberg was completely wiped out except Chelsea. In particular, the leader Mtlnovel Oberg was killed by Akame, who was still in the Assassination Corps. Mtlnovel was also a major figure who made Akame turn to the Revolutionary Army. Meowed after eating the biscuits given by Bai Ye, the little black cat did not ask Bai Ye for more food, but lay down with his hands in his pockets to rest. Looks like it's full. While talking, Celio also wanted to touch the little black cat. Chelsea continued to maintain her well-behaved cat persona. At the same time, she was a little concerned about the little bitch in front of her. She looked like a harmless puppy, but she always felt that this little guy was not simple. There are biological type Taigu among the Taigu, maybe this little guy is one. Chelsea raised her guard against the little bitch. Next, we need to deworm it and give it a bath. There seems to be herbs for deworming in the laboratory. I will take it to take a bath first and then deworm it. At this time, Bai Ye suddenly said. Bathing? Deworming is nothing, but bathing makes Chelsea feel a little embarrassed. Although her current body is a little female cat, if she is taken to take a bath by the other party, she will probably be touched all over her body by the other party. Even if it is a cat's body, it makes her very embarrassed. No matter what, she is still a human being in the end, but it has come to this point. And Chelsea has no other way out except to give up the mission. As a killer, she can complete the mission at any cost. Even if it is a very important teammate, she must learn to give up when necessary. This necessary sacrifice is worth it. This is her belief. Therefore, in the original work, Chelsea knew that Akahima was the main murderer who caused the annihilation of Oberg. In the face of the common interests of being a member of the Revolutionary Army, she did not show any hostility towards Akahima, but was very good to Akahima. At least their sacrifice has brought about the serious weakening of the Empire's assassination forces, and also brought about with the addition of Akahime. She thought these sacrifices were worth it. At the moment, Chelsea thought that she would just have to grit her teeth and endure it. Anyway, she was in the body of a cat now, so she wouldn't be too unacceptable. However, at this time, Bai Ye didn't know whether the little black cat was male or female. He didn't think so much, but just thought that from the perspective of acting, this was the normal way to treat stray cats. But when Bai Ye was about to take the little black cat to take a bath, an uninvited guest came to the Empire Assassination Force. Sir, General Esteth is here. At this time, a boy came to inform Bai Ye. Okay, then I'll go out to meet her. Bai Ye nodded slightly. He didn't find Esteth's sudden arrival strange anymore. When Bai Ye was about to meet Esteth, he didn't put down the little black cat in his arms. In case this guy attacked Akahime and the others, it would be more reassuring to watch him. General Esteth. Is she the woman who claims to be the strongest in the Empire? At this time, Chelsea, who was held by Bai Ye, of course knew Esteth. At present, Esteth has been regarded as the most dangerous enemy by the Revolutionary Army and is the biggest obstacle for the Revolutionary Army to overthrow Minister Ernest. Although it was unexpected to meet Esteth on this mission, Chelsea did not feel panic. Even if she faced Esteth, she was confident that she would not be exposed. Esteth's imperial weapon only had killing power and would not restrain her Gaia foundation, which she knew. Bai Ye had just walked out of the lounge a few steps and met Esteth at the corner of the corridor. You're already in. I was thinking about going out to greet you. Bai Ye stopped immediately. The beautiful woman in front of him, wearing a military uniform, a military cap, and a proud figure, was the strongest of the Empire today. Esteth. Bai Ye. Esteth was about to say something when she saw the little black cat held in Bai Ye's arms. She seemed a little surprised. So you like this kind of little thing? Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I forgot to post the picture, so I'll add Chelsea's. Esteth's implication is that she didn't expect Bai Ye to like such a weak thing. on the other hand, she has no interest in such so-called cute little animals. She feels that killing such a weak thing is not satisfying enough. Well, I like small animals such as cats and dogs. Bai Ye nodded and admitted, I see, it seems that you like cute little things more. What a cute side, Isdeth said with a smile. Bai Ye suddenly felt that he was being teased. Could it be that Isdeth thought he was like a little girl? No, Bai Ye was about to correct Isdeth's misunderstanding, but was interrupted by Isdeth. It's okay, no need to explain, I won't tell this cute secret to others, it's a secret between the two of us. This cute side in Isdeth's eyes did not make her feel disgusted, but made her desire to dominate Bai Ye even higher. At this time, Chelsea was laughing in Bai Ye's arms. Now it was no longer a secret between the two of them. She, the third party, knew it in an instant. Isdeth did not give Bai Ye a chance to explain and immediately moved on to the next topic. Bai Ye, I have heard about your previous fight against the night raid. You did a good job. Isdeth praised generously. There are also rumors that you, like me, let go of those guys from the night raid in order to enjoy more exciting battles in the future. This. Bai Ye suddenly felt that the rumor was a bit outrageous, but if he really took action at that time, with the abnormal degree of the double god's power first kill, it would not be a problem to make the night raid suffer heavy losses, and he could even get away with it, but there was no need at all. He had no grudges against the night raid, so why bother to fight with the night raid? As expected, you and I are compatible. When the time is right, you can come to work for me. At this time, Isdeth said bluntly. When is the time right? Bai Ye's pupils shrank slightly and he asked. Isdeth's words made him completely forget about Isdeth's misunderstanding of him just now. After I pacify the northern ethnic groups, the time will be almost ripe. Isdeth would not deliberately conceal these things from Bai Ye. The northern ethnic groups are currently the biggest threat besides the Revolutionary Army. Some people estimate that it will take at least a year for the empire to pacify the northern ethnic groups. I will let them see the real power. The so-called 1 year is a joke. I won't even need half a year, no, I won't even need half a month, I will flatten the north. By then, with my military exploits, you will have a certain reputation and achievements. Minister Ernest will definitely not object, otherwise I will also have the means to force him to agree. When mentioning the northern ethnic groups, the dangerous smile on Isdeth's face revealed absolute confidence, which was the confidence brought to her by absolute strength. The 400,000 troops of the northern ethnic groups seemed to be a group of inconspicuous ants in her eyes. I understand. Bai Ye nodded slightly. He didn't show anything on the surface, but in fact he was not very happy in his heart. After all, he still had a lot of things to deal with. Things in the Empire Assassination Corps have already developed to this point. He can't just leave suddenly halfway. There must be an end to a beginning. At least he has to solve the things here first. Bai Ye certainly didn't help the Assassination Corps for no reason. He gradually had his own calculations, that is, to create his own organization first. CLU and the people in the Empire Assassination Corps are the right candidates. When he completely takes over the Empire Assassination Corps, the creation of the organization will naturally come to fruition. Whether it's the Empire, Isdeth, the Revolutionary Army, or the Night Raid, why should we be inferior to others? However, Bai Ye didn't say anything to Isdeth, but simply responded. Before Isdeth pacified the northern ethnic groups, Bai Ye didn't need to rush to tell Isdeth about these things. Once it was said, it would surely cause dissatisfaction in Isdeth, and he might even turn against him directly. With this woman's amazing desire for control, she could really do such a thing. Of course, I won't let you be on par with the 3 beast warriors. You will be the deputy general at that time. No one can order you except me, not even Minister Ernest. At this time, Isdeth added another sentence. Hearing this, Chelsea thought she should speed up the mission progressed, at least before Isdeth pacified the northern foreign tribes, confirm whether Bai Ye is suitable to win over their revolutionary army. Okay. Bai Ye continued to nod. But I feel that you don't look very happy. Is the treatment not high enough? Isdeth pondered. No, that's not the case. Haven't I always been like this? Bai Ye smiled awkwardly. He just didn't smile. He didn't often smile. Death didn't dwell on this matter anymore, but gently pinched Bai Ye's cheeks with both hands. So you should smile more, you look very beautiful when you smile. You are the first one to say that my smile is very beautiful. Bai Ye couldn't help but say. Maybe it's because I'm more straightforward. Death said bluntly, her personality is very straightforward. Unless it is something she doesn't understand, she dares to say almost anything. Indeed, it's very obvious. Bai Ye agreed. Then, Death let go of Bai Ye's face. I have plenty of time today, so I'll stay here and see your work. Take me around here first. Okay. Bai Ye didn't expect Death to stay. He thought Death would come over and tell him something and leave, just like last time. But I still have to give this little guy a bath. Why don't you sit down first? Bai Ye said to Death. So, I'm not as important as this little thing in your eyes? Death's beautiful eyes suddenly turned cold. No, it's mainly because I just came back from training with the assassination team outside, and I also need to take a bath and clean its body by the way. Bai Ye explained calmly. Some people didn't expect Death to be dissatisfied with this kind of thing, but fortunately he reacted quickly. At this time, the kitten that Chelsea turned into almost exploded, and she forced herself to hold back this abnormal reaction that might be suspected. Just now, Bai Ye was troubled by Death, and now it was Chelsea's turn to be troubled. She almost forgot about taking a bath. P.S. The additional chapter is completed, but to be honest, there are a little few free gifts, so there is no motivation to add more chapters. Of course, it cannot be entirely dependent on the paid gifts of a few rich guys. Please generate electricity with love to brush it up. Chapter 56. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Forget it, you go take a shower, I'll look around first. After saying that, Death walked into the nearest room by herself. This happened to be the lounge of the assassination team. Seilu, Haitong and others were inside. When she saw so many people when she came in, Death didn't look surprised. You are members of the assassination team, right? Yes, General Death. Kelly said respectfully. The others also showed respectful expressions. Although they all met General Death for the first time, they had seen General Death's portrait a long time ago, so they recognized him. General Death, where is Commander Bai Ye? At this time, Haitong asked. He took a cat to take a bath. Death responded. Oh. Haitong was relieved. She was just worried that General Death was looking for trouble with Commander Bai Ye because of the last incident. The strange disappearance of those staff members last time would be exposed sooner or later. What are you worried about? Do you think I will do something to Bai Ye? Death keenly noticed a hint of abnormality in Haitong, and her relieved look made her a little concerned. However, her suspicion was not about the disappearance of the staff, not to mention that she didn't know about that incident at all. Even if she knew, she would not take it to heart at all. No. Haitong immediately adjusted his mood and shook his head nonchalantly. Really? Death's mouth corners slightly raised, and her momentum obviously completely suppressed Haitong. First of all, as an imperial general, she was absolutely suppressed in front of Haitong. Haitong, who had been brainwashed by the imperial assassination team for so long, would never contradict the leader no matter what. General Death, what's the matter with you coming here this time? Celia habitually stood at attention and saluted when he met his superior. Nothing serious, I came to see Bai Ye and take a look at his work situation. Death said calmly. I feel that General Death has a very good relationship with Master. He always comes to see Master specially. Celia immediately said his true thoughts innocently. That's right. However, Death also admitted casually without any concealment, he saved me once before, and I still owe him a favor. Hearing that Commander Bai Ye had a good relationship with General Death, Haitong suddenly became a little concerned, and from what Commander Saria described, General Death would always take time out of his busy schedule to visit Commander Bai Ye. It sounds like their relationship is not just good, but they are very close. If there is something important, it is understandable, but General Death is just visiting Commander Bai Ye, which is very suspicious. Master actually saved General Death. Saria was surprised. the other members of the assassination team were also surprised. It seems that Commander Bai Ye is more hidden than they thought. This generalist death is the strongest in the Empire. Hei Tong didn't react much. After all, she saw Commander Bai Ye easily kill the super dangerous species last time. Even if the super dangerous species is hibernating and in poor condition, it is enough to show the absolute strength of Commander Bai Ye. If she were to come, it would definitely not be so easy. Yeah. His death didn't explain anything and didn't care what they thought, although it was because she had not yet obtained the imperial weapon, Devil's Essence. Otherwise how could a small special dangerous species do anything to her? But she never made excuses for her failure. She was indeed saved by Bai Ye at that time, and there is no doubt about that. So I will let him become my deputy general in a while, so that the favor will be almost paid. Isdeth said. Of course, she did not want Bai Ye to stop at the deputy general. Her next plan was to push Bai Ye to the position of general. This is the ultimate goal of Isdetha's Bai Ye development plan. In Isdetha's view, letting Bai Ye jump to the deputy general is undoubtedly a gift to Bai Ye. From the perspective of normal people, it is indeed true. You know which immortal can jump multiple levels and be promoted to deputy general in a short period of time like Bai Ye? Even Isdeth, the strongest in the empire, spent many years climbing up step by step. When she first came to the imperial capital, she participated in many competitions and won all the way to the end before successfully joining the army, but Bai Ye has his own plans, and becoming Isdetha's deputy general is not conducive to his plans. Is that so, General Isdeth? That's great. Celiu was immediately happy for her master's bright future. Obviously, this was a good thing in her eyes, but Hei Tong and Kelly had different reactions. If that's the case, doesn't it mean that Commander Bai Ye will no longer be the manager of their Empire assassination force? Hei Tong's face was obviously shaken, and she couldn't help but ask Isdeth, so Commander Bai Ye will no longer be our manager in the future? Of course, if you can't bear to part with him, you can always go to see him at my place. Isdeth said casually. She didn't know the strict rules of the Empire's assassination forces, otherwise she wouldn't have said such a thing. Okay. Hei Tong looked a little depressed. She had hoped that Bai Ye could continue to be their leader, but he was about to be transferred after just a few days, and who knows if the next manager will be the same as the previous one. No, it can be said with more certainty that it is very likely to be the same as the previous one. After all, not everyone has the courage of Bai Ye to disobey the instructions of the superiors, but in front of General Isdeth, Hei Tong couldn't say anything. At the same time, Bai Ye on the other side had taken the little black cat away bathroom. He was going to give the little black cat a bath, and he would talk about it later. As for what Bai Ye had just said to Isdeth, it was actually just borrowed words. How could he take a bath with that person when he knew that the little black cat was transformed from someone? Just when Bai Ye put the warm water in and was about to put the little black cat into the basin, it suddenly occurred to him that he should confirm whether it was a male or female cat first. As a result, he lifted the little black cat up and took a look. At this moment, Chelsea had already lost hope in life. She kept telling herself in her heart that these sacrifices were necessary and worthwhile in order to complete the mission. It was because of this that the little black cat in front of Bai Ye did not show any shyness. It's actually a little female cat. Bai Ye was shocked. Doesn't this mean that this little black cat is likely a woman in disguise? P.S. School starts today. I will save the manuscript first and update it tomorrow. It will be convenient to update at a stable time if there are manuscripts saved. If nothing goes wrong, I will update at noon tomorrow. There will be another update tonight, and the minimum of 2 updates will never change. Chapter 57. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, the possibility of a man turning into a little female cat cannot be completely ruled out. This kind of thing is not difficult for the Imperial tool. Bai Ye thought to himself that he should just treat this guy as a man, or just not think about it. However, when bathing the little black cat, Bai Ye subconsciously avoided some special parts. At this time, Chelsea forcibly suppressed her inner shame and let Bai Ye ravage her body. The result was somewhat unexpected. That Bai Ye's movements were very gentle and neat, although it was still a little embarrassing. At least it was not very torturous. What made Chelsea a little concerned was that the other party seemed to be deliberately avoiding touching certain parts of her, either quickly passing by or directly skipping this. Could it be that he had discovered it? But Chelsea immediately denied this situation. She felt that this should be impossible. As long as she did not take the initiative to reveal the truth, the Imperial Tool Gaia Foundation had never failed, and she didn't see any abnormal reaction on his face. While Chelsea was thinking about this, Bai Ye had almost finished washing her. Bai Ye carried Chelsea out, then poured out the dirty water in the basin and replaced it with a basin of clean warm water, and then put Chelsea back into the basin. He gently scratched the little black cat's chin with his hand and said softly, "Okay, now you can wash yourself." Hearing this, Chelsea immediately felt that this guy was quite gentle. It was rare to have such a person in such a dark empire, especially in the imperial capital. If it was just an ordinary citizen, it would be okay, but Bai Ye, who could serve as a manager of the imperial assassination force and was favored by General Death, must be a strong man. In the current environment of the empire, people with strength are almost all tainted with various sins. Even the Revolutionary Army is no exception. Depriving life is a sin. No matter what the reason is, they have been killing. In this empire full of sins, the other party can still treat a stray cat so gently, which is undoubtedly precious in Chelsea's view. No wonder the Revolutionary Army only asked her to monitor this person instead of assassinating him. However, Chelsea couldn't make a conclusion about Bai Ye so quickly. She had to observe him for a while longer. Now Chelsea felt that it was not her identity that was exposed just now. It was probably just the gentleness of this guy. Chelsea took a bath in the basin by herself, thinking that she should play the role of a pet cat now. After the little black cat was washed, Bai Ye used a towel to wipe the body of the little black cat. He put the little black cat in the room outside the bathroom and closed the door of the room, preparing to take a bath himself. He was not worried about the little black cat running around. If he heard the sound of the door opening, he would react immediately and would not give this guy a chance to mess around, and Chelsea certainly couldn't expose her identity at this time. She had to lurk here and slowly observe Bai Ye. If nothing unexpected happened, she would maintain her current appearance as a little black cat until the end of the observation. So Chelsea obediently lay on Bai Ye's bed to rest, and took a look at Bai Ye's bedroom. The whole room was very simple and monotonous, very clean, with almost no extra things, which was different from the big and strong man she imagined. When she was working in a government office somewhere before, the governor was really sloppy and smelled of alcohol all day long. Because the governor was too cruel and dark, she later accidentally found the Imperial Weapon Gaia Foundation in the governor's treasure house, so she used the Imperial weapon to assassinate the governor and then joined the Revolutionary Army. 10 minutes later, Bai Ye came out of the bathroom. The clothes he changed into were the uniforms of the Empire Assassination Force. They were all black and very elastic, which was convenient for combat and assassination. Meowed at seeing Bai Ye coming out, the little black cat immediately got up and jumped off the bed, slowly walking towards Bai Ye. It was as if he had already recognized Bai Ye as his master. Seeing this, Bai Ye sighed in his heart. This guy acted so realistically. If he didn't have the Mangekyō Sharingan to detect the slight abnormality of the wound at that time, normal people would never think that this little black cat was actually a human. Then, Bai Ye picked up the little black cat and returned to the lounge. You can see his death is still here. You're back, it seems you've washed it. His death saw Bai Ye changed into a new set of clothes. Well, wash it by the way. Bai Ye picked up the clean little black cat, put it on the ground. I still find it hard to understand why you care so much about such a little thing. His death said lightly, although in her opinion this is Bai Ye's cute side, it is another matter that she cannot understand such a thing. Such a thing does not need any reason, and there is nothing to understand. Bai Ye felt a little helpless. He couldn't explain such a thing to his death. Master, don't you give it a name? Just like Xiaobi. At this time, Sayu suddenly asked Bai Ye. That's right, then give it a name. Bai Ye nodded slightly. Since the person who turned into a little black cat acted so realistically, he should act more realistically. Just call it Xiaohei. As Bai Ye was not good at naming, he couldn't think of any particularly good name. It happened to be a little black cat, so he just called it Xiaohei. Although it feels a bit direct, it sounds pretty good. Sayu said. Saryu was still tactful, so his death teased directly, Bai Ye, it seems that you are not very good at naming. As for Chelsea, she was also secretly happy in her heart. Although this was meaningless information, it was also interesting. It is a bit. Bai Ye said undeniably. So now, can you take me to visit here? Death said. Of course, I am happy to serve. Bai Ye nodded immediately. It just so happened that he also wanted to ask Death something. Seeing Bai Ye pick up the little black cat again, Death couldn't help asking, do you still need to take it with you at this time? How much do you like this little thing? No, it's because it's injured and hasn't recovered yet. I can't help but take good care of it. Bai Ye explained in a very natural tone. In fact, this was just an excuse he thought of casually, but this sentence was also half true and half false. It really couldn't help but take good care of this little guy. Obviously, Bai Ye didn't intend to let Death know the true identity of this little black cat. Oh. This guy is quite thoughtful, he actually cares about me so much. Hearing what Bai Ye said, Chelsea was a little surprised. P.S. Ask for free gifts, using love to generate electricity is also very impressive. Chapter 58. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just like that, Bai Ye held the little black cat and took Death to visit the base of the Empire Assassination Force. You are worthy of being the master. You are calm even when walking with General Death. Seeing Bai Ye and Death leave together, Celia smiled admiringly, but Hei Tong and other members of the assassination force were not in such a good mood as Celia. After all, Commander Bai Ye would soon leave them. It was not easy to meet such a good commander, but he was going to lose him so soon. Especially, Hei Tong's mood was the most complicated among all people, as if Bai Ye was no longer ordinary in her mind. By the way, I have something to ask you. Walking with Death, Bai Ye suddenly asked. It happened that Death was free today, so he could try to ask about the internal affairs of the Empire. What is it? Death's tone was as if you could ask anything. I'm a little curious, are there any other factions in the palace besides Minister Ernest's faction? Bai Ye asked directly. He still didn't know whether it was Minister Ernest's faction that was arbitrary or whether there were other factions that were fighting against it. However, according to the current dark situation in the imperial capital, it can be seen that Minister Ernest's faction is definitely very strong. If you insist, there is also a so-called conscience faction, which is what the rebels call them. Death replied casually, General Bud is protecting them, including the former minister, otherwise they would have been liquidated by Minister Ernest long ago. But you don't have to worry, the old stubborn Bud abides by the ancestral precepts and will not interfere in internal affairs. He just uses his authority to protect those officials. Although it is not certain whether he will interfere because he can't bear it anymore, I will deal with him at that time, and I have always wanted to fight him. After listening to what Death said, Bai Ye had some idea in his mind. Of course, he had heard of General Bud's reputation. He was the supreme commander of the entire imperial army. He belonged to a family of generals who had been loyal to the empire for generations. He was also the strongest in the empire. Along with Death, General Bud protected some officials of the conscientious faction. Although they had no ability to resist in front of Minister Ernest and were on the passive defense, at least the entire empire was not left with only Minister Ernest's faction. Well, it seems that you are on the minister's faction, Death. Bai Ye said. It can be considered as such, because that guy is in my interest and allows me to enjoy the battle to my heart's content. Death nodded slightly. The empire is now in a situation of internal and external troubles. In addition to the rebels, it seems that there are also foreign ethnic groups in the south, northwest and north who are eyeing the empire's territory. Bai Ye wanted to find out the general situation of this world. Well, occasionally there are pirates wreaking havoc in the southern coastal areas. Death said, but I will suppress those foreign races. Although the stubborn old Bud doesn't get along with us, there is no problem leaving the imperial capital to him. I understand, that's all. Bai Ye has asked what he wanted to ask. At least there are officials with conscience in the palace, not all of them are corrupt. As for the content of his conversation with Death, it doesn't matter whether the little black cat hears it or not. The Revolutionary Army must have known about these things a long time ago. After taking Death to tour the entire base, there was actually nothing to see. The base was not big to begin with. Bai Ye and Isdeth mainly chatted along the way. After chatting for a while, Isdeth was ready to leave. Then I'll leave first. I'll come back to you after I've pacified the northern tribes. Don't forget what I said today. Isdeth said, I think those people in your assassination team are reluctant to let you go. Remember to say goodbye to them in advance. Well. Bai Ye didn't say much. Then, Isdeth left. Back in the lounge, Bai Ye noticed at first glance that everyone's expressions were a little strange, except for Susanoo. Sir, has General Isdeth left? At this time, Kelly asked tentatively. Well, she has gone back. What's wrong? Bai Ye asked with some doubts. Is it just as Isdeth said? Everyone felt reluctant to let him go when they heard that he was about to become Isdeth's deputy general. I heard that the commander is about to transfer to General Isdeth's side. Is this true? Listen, when Isdeth left, Haitong asked immediately. It's probably true, but it hasn't been finalized yet. Bai Ye said it in a general way. At this time, when he hadn't completely taken over the Imperial Assassination Force, he didn't want to reveal his plan in advance. But it turns out that it's more promising for the commander to go to General Isdeth. After all, our Imperial Assassination Force is not very presentable. Yes, General Isdeth is also for the commander's good. We can't be too willful. I don't know if Commander Selu will also go with Commander Bai Ye. If Commander Selu can stay, it would still be very good. Although everyone was reluctant to let Commander Bai Ye go, they could understand, and they themselves had no right to interfere in Commander Bai Ye's affairs. It was also because Commander Bai Ye usually let them go too easily. Otherwise, they would never dare to say anything about the commander's affairs. Haitong was silent for a while. Although it was not finalized, she felt that the commander would not refuse such a good thing. If she stayed with them, she would be easily targeted and retaliated by the superiors. She also felt that she should not be so willful, but soon, Haitong changed her mind in a moment of excitement. Sure enough, I still want to be more willful. Haitong took Bai Ye's hand and pulled Bai Ye out of the door. He even took Bai Ye directly to his room so that no one could hear their conversation. However, Bai Ye still held the little black cat that Chelsea had turned into in his other hand. Commander, why are you leaving so soon? Didn't you agree to take care of us? At this time, Haitong locked the door and asked with a sad face, or before General Isdeth pacifies the northern ethnic groups, let's go and destroy the night raid. In this way, we can get the recognition of the Empire and maybe have the opportunity to join General Isdeth's army with you. Chelsea suddenly felt that it was quite interesting, as if there was a good show to watch. She felt that this little sister would not be. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Ye sighed, why are you thinking so much now? Didn't you say it's not finalized yet? I have to think about this kind of thing carefully. Hearing this, Haitong's pretty face was stunned for a moment. Commander Bai Ye is actually considering this matter? Or, is this kind of thing still worth considering? Being able to become the deputy general beside General Isdeth is something that many people dream of but cannot desire, and you can directly get rid of the troubles of the superiors of the Empire's assassination forces. General Isdeth doesn't seem to be so strict with Commander Bai Ye, and the relationship even seems a little ambiguous. She thinks from Bai Ye's perspective, this matter is a great thing anyway, right? So Haitong just complained a little bit just now, and didn't say that she didn't want Commander Bai Ye to transfer to General Isdeth. Her idea is to destroy the night raid as soon as possible in the remaining time before Commander Bai Ye leaves, so that their assassination forces will have outstanding military exploits, and perhaps they will have bargaining chips to negotiate with the Empire. Although the hope is slim, we should always try to fight for it. Therefore, Haitong couldn't help asking, this is obviously a good thing, right? Why does the commander need to consider it? It's all for you. Bai Ye said, how can I let you go so easily? If I really go to Isdeth, what will you do? I don't trust Celia to manage you alone. If you insist, there is nothing wrong with this sentence. He transformed the Imperial Assassination Corps into a new organization, which is much better than the original Inhuman Imperial Assassination Corps, and he really couldn't trust Celia, and the twisted justice in his mind had not been completely changed. The people in the Imperial Assassination Corps were already brainwashed enough. If they were led astray by Celia again, Commander. Hearing this, Haitong's heart was immediately touched. At this time, Chelsea silently wrote down Bai Ye's personality in a small notebook in her heart, a certain degree of kindness, gentleness, and loyalty. This is the label she temporarily gave Bai Ye. Chelsea suddenly understood why these people in the assassination team were so reluctant to part with Bai Ye. Before, these people were trained by the Empire in a way that destroyed their humanity, while Bai Ye seemed to care about them very much, but she was a little curious, wouldn't this guy worry about his situation? This training method that ran counter to the original Empire would definitely bring a lot of trouble and even danger to this guy, right? I understand, I misunderstood the commander. Haitong had calmed down, but that was General Estetha's order. If the commander did not follow her order, there should be bad consequences. She couldn't help but worry about Commander Bai Ye now. Probably, I will decide based on the situation at that time. Bai Ye said. Well, then regarding the night raid, we still have to eliminate them as soon as possible. Haitong had already made this plan. She felt that Commander Bai Ye would not disobey General Estetha's order in the end. They should have fought for something, and not held back Commander Bai Ye. Don't worry about the night raid, don't think about making merit so deliberately. Bai Ye immediately persuaded, you should train well when you should train, and rest normally when you should rest, that's all. If the current Imperial assassination force fights with the night raid, the best result is that both sides will suffer losses, and the worst result is that the Imperial assassination force will be completely destroyed, and the latter is more likely. No matter which result, it is not what Bai Ye wants to see. But Haitong wanted to say something, but heard Bai Ye say, just listen this time, don't you always obey the orders of the commander? Yes, commander, I was too rude just now. Haitong immediately realized that her words and deeds just now were a bit too much. She shouldn't have said these words in front of the commander. If she had been replaced by the previous commander's severity, she estimated that she would have been punished long ago. Anyway, you don't have to think too much, I will find a way. Bai Ye said. Yeah. Haitong smiled lightly and nodded slightly. Although he has not been able to completely put his mind at ease, it is much better than before. This matter has been temporarily passed. In fact, Haitong and his team just returned from training today, so according to the usual practice, Bai Ye will give them some vacation time. With this vacation time, everyone in the assassination team can stroll around the streets of the imperial capital and learn more about the current situation of the imperial capital. In the absence of with regular brainwashing, the degree of brainwashing of the assassination team will gradually weaken, and understanding the current situation of the imperial capital will help speed up the brainwashing. Bai Ye's idea is undoubtedly feasible. In the original work, Chi Tong witnessed too much darkness in the empire, and her heart gradually wavered, and finally joined the revolutionary army. Walking on the street with the assassination team, Bai Ye also bought some materials for making nutritious porridge. I don't know what happened to the family last time. Their children have no money to treat the disease, and I gave them some money. They should have got the medicine, or we should go over and see later. I met a few little sisters from other places last time, and gave them some accommodation expenses. I hope they have found a suitable job. Everyone remembered some things that happened during the last vacation. For the many poor civilians seen everywhere on the street, they didn't react much, but just felt a little pitiful, and would help a little when they could, because the idea instilled in them by the Imperial Assassination Corps is that the suffering of the people is caused by the rebels who make the empire unstable. So the poor people they often see in daily life will only make them firm in their idea of resisting the rebels. Hearing what they said, Bai Ye immediately thought that their fantasy about the empire was too beautiful. When he was the captain of the Imperial Capital Guard before, there were many cases of outsiders being cheated, abused, or even killed. Crimes may happen in any corner of the Imperial Capital. At that time, he was the most busy, dealing with various things every day. During his tenure, the public security in the Imperial Capital improved a lot. During the period after he resigned from the Imperial Capital Guard, I don't know how the new captain did. It is very likely that he is still the same as the previous Oka. Afterwards, Bai Ye followed the assassination team to the family that had no money to treat the child. At this time, Chelsea was quite surprised that these people in the assassination team actually cared about those poor families. Are these children not bad by nature, or has Bai Ye brought changes to these children? Chapter 60. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Suburban area of the imperial capital, a shabby thatched hut. This is where the poor family lives. Compared to the bustling streets of the imperial capital, this thatched hut seems too shabby, and in the imperial capital, there are many families who can't even afford medicine, including Bai Ye and Sai Lu. The entire imperial assassination team has more than 20 people. They can't squeeze into such a small thatched hut. It seems that those kind young people last time. An old woman who was short and thin, almost skinny, was sitting at the door. Even the low stool she was sitting on was not solid, and the creaking sound was like it was about to fall apart. Old woman, didn't your grandson get sick last time? How is he now? He should have recovered almost completely, right? Kelly asked the old woman in an optimistic tone, but the old woman's expression was obviously not right. She hesitated for a while and said slowly, "Thank you very much for what happened last time, but, the medicine I bought with the money was fake. I was beaten when I wanted to ask for justice. Now there is really no choice but to let Xiao Tao go through it. How could this happen? I actually sold you fake medicine." Kelly was immediately incredulous. The pharmacy sold fake medicine openly, and he was beaten when he went to ask for justice. This happened in a place like the imperial capital. Is there no one to take care of it? The others found it hard to believe. This is actually not strange. The imperial capital is far from being as beautiful as you think. Bai Ye said calmly, "I worked in the imperial capital guard before, so I know this better than you." Everyone fell into a brief silence after hearing this, and then they immediately thought of the rebels. It's the rebels who are responsible. If they hadn't caused such chaos in the empire, it wouldn't be like this. Yes, so we should fight against the rebels and stabilize the empire. We also need to do some practical achievements. Hunting dangerous species every day won't get the empire's recognition. Hearing what they said, the old woman was immediately confused. This has nothing to do with the rebels or the revolutionary army, right? I heard from the old man that the pharmacy is mainly because of a big man behind it, so it dares to be so unscrupulous. The big man is an official in the imperial capital. Just at this time, a hunchbacked old man walked out of the thatched hut. There were many wounds on his body, which were just sloppily bandaged with folk methods. Fortunately, the injury was not very serious, otherwise he probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed and walk now. You should all be young people who have just joined the army from other places, right? The current situation in the imperial capital has nothing to do with the revolutionary army. When the former minister was in power, it was much better than now, cough cough. The old man put his hands behind his waist and said while coughing, "I hope that the revolutionary army can overthrow all the big figures who are now high and mighty and don't care about the lives of the people. In this way, we can at least survive. You don't know how many people starved to death this year." Kelly and others were speechless, their faces were struggling, and their original thinking of the theory of the evil of the rebels was a little shaken, but only a little shaken. At this time, Bai Ye on the side said nothing. He knew very well that this was not enough to persuade them just by talking. He also had to let them see some things with their own eyes to slowly weaken the effect of brainwashing. "Where is that pharmacy? We will help you get justice." At this time, Hei Tong asked directly. While getting justice, she also wanted to figure out what was going on with this matter. "Why don't we just forget it? This won't do you any good, and it may even harm you," the old woman said with a worried look on her face. "It's okay, just tell us. I was the captain of the Imperial Capital Guard after all, and I can't turn a blind eye to such things," Bai Ye said. "That's right, you can leave it to us with confidence. Sai Lu, the former deputy captain of the Imperial Capital Guard, is here." At this time, Sai Lu was holding Xiao Bai, with a face full of justice and sunshine. "The previous captain? Are you the Captain Bai Ye?" The old man reacted immediately. Although he had never seen Captain Bai Ye before, Captain Bai Ye's reputation had long been spread in the imperial capital, and everyone knew that this captain was very upright. It's a pity that this captain came very suddenly and left very quickly. Now the Imperial Capital Guard is almost changed back to the original appearance. now Captain Bai Ye and Vice Captain Sai Lu appeared in front of him, and even said they would help them, which made him feel incredible. Exactly. Bai Ye nodded. I understand, I really can't swallow this bad breath with my old bones, I will take you there now. The old man's face suddenly became much more energetic, and it was absolutely impossible to say that he had no resentment, knowing that the other party was Captain Bai Ye. The old woman stopped dissuading him, because if they couldn't get the medicine, their grandson would probably not survive today, accompanying the old man to a pharmacy. Why are there so many people here suddenly? Isn't this the old man from last time? It seems that he is going to bring people to seek revenge on us. He is quite brave. An old man is still so troublesome. Let's just chop off his hands and feet this time to prevent him from making trouble again. Don't be careless. I feel that the clothes those people are wearing are not simple, especially the young man in the front. I feel like I have seen him somewhere. What are you afraid of? That adult is just discussing things with the store manager upstairs. With that adult here, no one can help, that the arrival of Bai Ye and others aroused the vigilance of the drugstore clerks, but obviously they did not recognize Bai Ye. I heard that you sold fake medicine and injured this old man. Return the money and pay a lot of compensation. Kelly directly explained his purpose. Ha! Little bastard, are you kidding me? A clerk laughed arrogantly. In a blink of an eye, many big men suddenly appeared from all directions and surrounded Bai Ye and others. They seemed to be the private thugs of this pharmacy, their movements looked very skillful. It was obvious that they often did dirty things such as forced buying and selling, and even sold fake drugs. At this time, Sai Lu could no longer suppress his desire to execute justice in his heart. His facial expression gradually became ferocious. These guys came at the right time. It will be useless even if you kneel down and beg for mercy later. Beat them to death, the clerk shouted. However, at this moment, the so-called big man also came down from the second floor. He found such a big battle below, and immediately frowned and asked, what happened? It's so noisy. Lord Cole, there are just some people who don't know their own strength to make trouble. We will deal with these people immediately. Facing Lord Cole, the clerk's attitude suddenly became flattering, but when Cole saw the faces of Bai Ye and Sai Yu, he was stunned and his glasses almost fell off. He slapped the clerk in the face with his backhand, and there was a loud and crisp sound. What the hell are you talking about? P.S. The update is over, and I will continue to ask for free gifts. Generate electricity with love.